Hey guys, how you doing? Mike here. So this is going to be a different video. This is a video I've wanted to do for a while. It's going to be a video about me, about who I am, what I do, and why I started my YouTube channel. It's going to be a little Q&A, I guess. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how I got into Local 94, Operating Engineers Union, 32BJ, the last union I was in, how I got into my current job, you know, what I do. I've been getting a few questions, so I want to answer those questions for you guys. I've never put out a video really talking about myself because nobody really showed any interest, but I think there's still a lot of dark spots you guys don't know about me, and if you're interested, you know, I'd be willing to take the time to just kind of tell you a little bit of my story. So I started YouTube back in 2007, and I had a different channel before this. It was like Michael Patrick C. Green 77, something like that. And I didn't know how to upload videos back then. I only had it to watch videos and to make comments. I didn't start my channel until I think it was July or whatever, 2008, when I got the 67TR876. And people asked me, why'd you name your channel that? Well, at the time, I didn't know that I'd be posting videos or get this far, so I just came up with some random numbers and I said, sure, why not? Another thing you guys may not know, if you go all the way back to my first video, that really isn't my first video. I had about 20 videos before that I deleted, which some of them I really wish I didn't delete, because there was a few videos I did of air conditioning units at my old building and stuff, my old apartment, like the 1992 Carrier P-TAC. That's a video that I wish I never deleted. And the reason I used to delete those videos is because not too many people watched them. So back then I was like, oh, well, if not too many people are watching them, I'll just delete them. But now I'm learning the way I look at my YouTube channel is more like a time capsule. If you guys didn't know, back when I started, I was 14 years old. So when you see me in 2008, I'm 15. I'm 14, 15, you know? Right? August was when I turned, my birthday's August 4th, so any videos before August 4th, 2008, I would have been 14, and any videos after that, I would have been 15. And now I'm 27, so it's pretty cool to look back on that. So basically, you get to see me go from, you know, I grew up and lived in New York City, and the first building I was in was the building my dad was the building manager of, and we had an apartment in the building. He was the super. And he was there for 30 years, but I only started making videos in 2008, so he retired in 2009, so you only got to see about 2.5 years of stuff at the building, or a little less. Then I moved to Jersey, so you get to see the house in Jersey. We lived in Jersey from 2009 till about 2012, late 2012. And you get to see the high school I went to, you get to see the units I filmed out there, the shop in my house in Jersey, the house in Jersey. Then we moved back to the city. That's when I started in 2013. I got into the air conditioning company. And you get to see a few videos of me working in the air conditioning company. And I did one video of when I actually got into the local union 32B. And when I started out as a doorman, but I didn't do a video of me as a doorman. I did a video of this big vintage Emerson fan in the basement, which you'll see, it's still on my channel. And then I got a handyman job in one huge building that I was in for about 3 months, and it was a little overwhelming, so I was looking for another handyman job in a smaller building, because that building was like 500 tenants. It was 2 buildings, it was 500 tenants, and I was the only handyman on in the afternoon, so I was like, no, I'm going to look for something smaller. So that's when I got in the smaller building. I had about 73 apartments, which was really nice, because I was like second in charge there, pretty much, because I was the only handyman, just me and the super. And that's where I was for 3 years. That's when you'll see the steam room videos, the window air conditioner videos, the fresh air duct project videos. All those videos were taken at my second handyman job. There's only one video of my first handyman job, which was I think it's an air conditioner leaking in the basement in the storage room. That was the only video, and you'll see I have on a blue uniform. Then I was lucky enough through somebody I know to get into a commercial building as a maintenance mechanic or junior engineer, and that's where I've been for the past 2 years, and that's the commercial videos you're seeing. So I try to bring you guys everywhere I go. I try to show you guys what I work with, what I work on, the buildings I work in. I was never a fan for service work. I was never a fan for going on the trucks and working. I don't like that. I did it for a year in the air conditioning company, and I knew it wasn't for me. I like being in a building. That's what I like. I like having a set shift, getting overtime now and then, getting holiday pay, being in a decent union and everything like that. So I prefer what I do now. It's basically being stationed in a building. For any of you who don't know, in New York City, what I do now in commercial, you have small commercial buildings are different than big commercial buildings. Usually big commercial buildings have a union, which is Local 94 Operating Engineers Union. So you have operating engineers, you have mechanics or helpers, you have an assistant chief and a chief engineer, and then there's always a building manager. The smaller commercial buildings that don't have Local 94 usually just have a commercial building super and a handyman, and that's about it. Because the smaller commercial buildings don't always have chiller plants. There's a lot of commercial buildings in New York that are just all package units, and they're either air-cooled or water-cooled. So you'll usually find Local 32BJ in those buildings. Residential buildings, they're different. You really won't find engineers in residential buildings unless they're extremely, extremely big, super tall buildings that have a big chiller plant, which they do exist. There's a few of them here in the city, one of them being 432 Park Avenue is a Local 94 building, and there are Local 94 operating engineers in there with 32BJ, so both unions are in that building because it's such a big building. But most of the time it'll be 32BJ. You'll have doormen, porters, handyman, and a super. Sometimes the bigger buildings have an assistant super and a super, or superintendent. Technically, superintendent is the same thing as building manager, but a lot of supers get a good deal. As a superintendent in New York, you usually get a free apartment in the building. You live in the building and you work in the building. So basically you manage the building, but you get a free apartment with it, which is really good. So that's another thing I'm looking into too if I move up. But yeah, that's just a little bit about what I'm doing. Getting a license here in New York City to operate a chiller plant, you need to have what we call the Q01, which is Refrigeration Operating Engineer's License. And there's a two-part test. There's a written and a practical. I passed my written, and I'm studying for my practical right now. And basically, it just proves that you know all of the safeties, you know what to do, you know how to operate the machinery, and it's given out by the New York City Fire Department. New York City has a lot of licenses for stuff. It's another way the fire department makes money. I know that we're the only city in this whole country that you have to have a license to operate any refrigeration machinery over 50 tons or 50 pounds of refrigerant. So yeah, that's one of the licenses I'll be getting. I do have my EPA 608, and I have this. I also have the S13, S14, which is standpipe citywide, standpipe multi-zone system. I have my S95, which is fire alarm panel systems, basically, and related systems. And I have an F01, which is fire guard for impairment, which basically means if your fire system goes down, you are acting as the fire system yourself. You're visually inspecting places for flammable materials, anything that can catch fire, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, I have my OSHA 10. And I also have, I did through 32BJ, I have a certificate for air pollution control and boilers. I did that back December 5th, 2017. So that's another one I have. So those are some of the licenses. Some of what I do in the building I'm in now, a big commercial building. We maintain, I'm a maintenance mechanic, so we maintain all the equipment. We do handyman work. We also do all the handyman work. We work on doors, work on bathroom fixtures, lighting, you name it. But mechanic, because we will change bearings, we go into the air handlers, we fix what we need to fix, grease them, maintain them, change the bearings, change the belts, take amperage readings, all that good stuff. So that's what being a maintenance mechanic is about. It is a step up from a handyman because you're more well-rounded mechanically. Usually as a handyman in a building, you're not going to touch any of the mechanical equipment. You just kind of oversee it. You're not going to go digging into it because it's usually contracted out in those type of situations. Like when I was a handyman, I would dig into some of it, but most of the time it's all contracted out by outside vendors. So usually as a handyman, you won't get that mechanical experience that you would get as a maintenance mechanic. Depends. There's buildings that even 94s in, and they still contract out all their work. So, you know, some buildings are hands-on and some buildings are not. But me personally, I like working in the building. And I work here in the city, and so I just take the subway 4 stops and I'm at work. So it's not a far commute for me at all. But, you know, that's why I created the YouTube channel. I like to show you guys equipment I work on. There's not too many other people on YouTube I see making videos of big commercial equipment and stuff here in New York. So I think it's an interesting twist to have out there in the HVAC community. Even though I'm not big at all in the HVAC community, but I still try to get my content out there. I hope people watch it. So yeah, hope I'm not boring you guys to death with blah blah blah. You know, but I just wanted to explain a bit about myself. And if you guys have any more questions for me, feel free to put it in the comments and ask me. I'd love to answer them. So yeah, that's just a little bit about what I do, what I've been through, where I took my channel from, and where it's gone. And you know, I thank everyone for the support. All I care about is you guys learning something. I'm not one of those YouTubers who are, oh, I need the views so I can get the ad money and I get a Patreon. No. All I care about is, hey, if you guys can walk away with something from my video, awesome. You guys can understand more about how this bigger equipment works. Awesome. That's all I want. That's all I care about. And also using it as a time capsule. I love to look back on what I was doing 5-10 years ago. It's pretty cool. So hopefully I can have stuff to look on 20 years from now. But yeah. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this little video about me. And thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Mike out.